Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And as I pull up the chat on my tablet so I can read it, I had to stop an ad. This will be the second of 3 streams on this ration because I will be digging into all 3 of the main entrees. So last week was the chicken jalfrezi. So here is the vegetarian sausage and tomato breakfast known as all-day breakfast that has potatoes in it. Then the other option is this bean and pasta salad, which is also vegetarian. So those are the 2 options. So this one has a variety of beans in it. It's got seasonings. Whereas this one, it's a vegetarian fake meat, like a soy protein, other plant-based protein sources in here. And that can feels like 1, maybe 2 sausages. Possibly a 3rd, I'm not sure. I'll know more when I actually get into it. So Chris is here, John Livenett, a name I had not seen before in here. Thanks for dropping in. This is packed in 2023. And then in the accessory pack, I just got rid of all of the items that I will not be using. So I had one of these coffees last time. So tonight, it could either be one of the 2 tea bags or the cocoa mix. And as far as the cold drink powders, could be the lemon, and here's the cocoa mix. Oh, this is, I think one of these is a grapefruit. So then there's an apple flavored energy drink, which is in a slightly different packet. So this is the apple fortified energy drink. So it's a slightly different formula than these 2. Yeah, although some of these ORPs used to have a little more in them, like it would have those sesame bars. Some of them may have those nougat bars, which are very similar to what you get in the French rations. You may get jam or jelly, but I have a peanut butter in here. Remember last time I only ate part of the biscuits brown. These are the biggest pieces, and I just put in this Ziploc bag to save them for another meal. I could either pull those out, or I have the cheese oat biscuits. So that could also be another option. Then I also have the peanuts and the cola bottles gummy candies that are in here. For this, it's just nuts. This is a 100-gram bag of mixed nuts. So that is almost probably over 4 ounces. Between 4 and 5 ounces worth of nuts in this bag. I think what I might do is, since I opened up the biscuits brown last week, I think what I'm going to do is go after these cheese oat biscuits. So I got the lemon drink powder. That just went into the drinking jar. The Carlos Perry and Multi-Magnum in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Let's see, I think I will go for a tea bag in the delicious mug. This is just a generic well, looks like that one did not open very well, so I'll have to be careful with that. That tag did not separate very well. I'll just be extra careful when I go to pour the water in it. Yeah, again, I have a plastic bag that I'm putting the trash in since I'm saving the ration bag. So would you like to see the all-day breakfast or the bean and pasta salad? And while you make up my mind on that, I'm going to go ahead and pour water into my drinking jar. This has no color whatsoever. It kind of reminds me of maybe 3 of those vitamin C packets that you get in Spanish rations. The last time I got into those, I put 2 of those packets in here. Because these are sugar-based, they do take a little bit longer to dissolve. So I put my mug here. These are both 300-gram entrees. This one has a gusseted pouch, whereas this one, like the last one, does not have a gusseted pouch. This one is slightly shorter and wider. This one's slightly narrower and longer. I think I'm going to put this one in. And the bean and pasta salad will go in next time. So I will put this in the pot to heat that up, and then I will bring back the kettle and pour the hot water in the mug. I just took the kettle back into the kitchen. Again, because I ripped the top of the tea bag. I want to be careful as I mix that up. And it does need a little bit more water, but I wanted to actually mix it before I did that. I'm just going to leave the spork in there like that to hold that tea bag in place. And just making a slight adjustment. I want to make sure everything is in frame. Well, this packet opened a lot easier than Biscuit's brown packet did. In this one, there is a smaller amount, 50 grams as opposed to 75. And most of these are pretty much intact. These are darker in color. Get a look at the cross section of it. Aiden here is here. Thanks for dropping in. This is a 2023 pack Halal Menu 1. So not as much to these. I went ahead and got the cola bottles out. They come in a zip top pouch. But it didn't open up all the way across. that is what those look like. They're a sugar coated, very different from the cola bottle candies that we used to see many years ago, where the bottom part was a much darker brown, closer to a true cola color, whereas this looks like the color of the cola flavored drink powder once it's mixed up. So that so that's what those look like. I'm going to go ahead and take some of these nuts out of here. Peanuts, almonds, and cashews are the only nuts in here, and they are not roasted or salted. I will put this inside of something, or actually I got this clip on out here. I'll take this clip and I'll put it on here. I folded it over a couple of times so I can put that back inside of the ration bag. That way they will all remain. Looks like what I did worked as far as the tea goes. I don't think I lost any of the tea leaves out of the bag. I'm going to give the drink another bit of a stir. Again, these drink powders, they call for 500 mils or just a little over 2 cups of water, but I make them strong. Now I will go into the kitchen and get the entree, and I'll be right back. I am back. I use this domed lid from the cookware that I've had since college. I take the pouch out of the hot water and just drop it into there. Makes it easier to carry this hot thing back here. And I have a paper towel that I'm using to dry it off. Now the tear notch goes across this way. So I shake the food down before I tear it open. And that opened really nice. And let's see what this has. Kind of reminds me of the smell of like Beanie Weenies. So big chunks of potato, and there are actual pieces of tomato in here. So it looks like got whole sausages and then like one that busted up, so it's actually 3. Well, I guess there's 5. More than what I thought. So that is what one of the sausages looks like. It's got the seasoning that you might find in some breakfast sausages, but it definitely does not taste like meat. It has the texture of it. I believe there's onion in here as well. Yeah, I just ate a big piece of onion. So that's nice that they put the onions in here. I'm trying to show, there we go. That kind of gives you an idea of the cross section of the sausage. Very soft, but still a little bit of bite to it. And it is definitely a step above from the fake meat products that came out when these things first started coming out. Back then, They were absolutely strange tasting. I remember attending a summer camp that was run by the Seventh day Adventist Church, and they practiced vegetarian diet, so they do not eat meat of any kind. Eggs and dairy they will do, but as far as meat from an animal, no. And so the bacon, it looked like bacon, but it definitely did not taste it. It did not have the texture. But we ate it anyway because that's what they served us. The tomato bits, very small tomato bits, very soft. But a decent flavor in that sauce. Now there is a look at one of the pieces of potato. About what you would expect for a canned potato, or maybe a chunk of potato that you would find in potato soup. So not too soft, but not all that firm, but still not bad. And these vegetarian sausages are soft enough where I don't need. I can just push down with the end of my a spoon end of my fork and cut it apart. It's actually not bad. I'm going to go ahead and take a bite of this cheese oat biscuit. A cheddar taste is there, kind of a mild, not super cheesy, but same as the biscuits brown. They're not too crunchy, but yet not soft. They don't have the snap of other types of crackers. I might put a couple of these bits into the sauce and let them sit for a while. And I don't have as much of this as I did the biscuits brown. So I won't be putting a whole lot of these in there. But I still like these. These would be good with a cheese spread. I would definitely do that if I had a cheese spread from this ration. Does tea taste like your basic black tea? Probably average quality black tea. I think I would enjoy the Thai food tea better. I really do like that tea. There's a piece of a cheese biscuit, sausage, and potato. Not really enough there to give it anything more than a little bit of crunch. Oh, that looks like mushrooms. I think there are mushrooms in here. Yeah, that. I think that was a mushroom. So got. I think mushrooms in here. So anyone who is sensitive to mushrooms would not want to eat this one. But I like mushrooms. I don't have a problem with them. Now, some of these sausages look like they've been cooked a little bit longer than others. So they might be a little bit firmer. I'm going to look at the chat, see who else is here. Nation Emery Finds is here. Travis Horst is here. Brandon Nalani is here. Thanks for dropping in. Getting more names I haven't seen before. Masclo. Unfortunately, I am not fluent in Russian. That would be Lee at Cold War Prepper. He is still fluent in Russian, even after he retired from the intelligence service that he worked for. He still keeps up with the language. He still converses with several people in Russian. But unfortunately, I only dabbled with it back in '87. And I haven't really messed with it since, other than looking at foreign coins and currency when I was more active in collecting, and I had my books that I referenced when people used to send me pictures. You know, they knew I had the books. And so I would look them up and told them what I was able to pick out. But again, that's been quite a few years since I had those books. I sold them all to a used bookstore when I was preparing to move into this place, and I wanted extra money for moving expenses, so I sold off a number of items in order to cover some of those. Well, actually, there's an apple. It's supposed to be an apple flavored shake that I can't remember if it's a protein shake or if it's just something like we would call our dairy shakes that we can get here in U.S. rations. So I don't know if that is something that It's been a while since I had one of those apple shakes. I would be interested in seeing a packet of that. But from what I've seen from other reviewers, the taste and the texture are kind of strange. But I'm sure over there on the other side of the pond, you can go into a store and buy a commercially made protein powder and just mix that into a shake. I don't know if it would be brands imported from other countries, like from here in the US or other countries, or what, or produced inside the country. I wouldn't have any idea. I'm going to take a drink of this lemon drink. Again, no color. Like I said earlier, it looks like I dumped 3 of those Spanish vitamin C powders into my drinking jar. I'll break. Oh, see how I was gonna try to bring that up to my mic to break it, but that just came apart so easily. But I do like these cheese oat biscuits. It just would be nice if they had a little bit more of a snack to them. And this unroasted, unsalted, the lightest colored one is a peanut, an almond, and a cashew. They're okay, but I just like that taste of the roasted nut. I think they're a little bit crisper. Of course, you salt them a little bit. That improves the flavor of them, but and of course, it would have been nice if they would have added a couple of additional nuts to it to give it more variety. Burger Butt and Burger Butt are here. Thanks for dropping in. And this is meal 2 from this 2023 Halal Menu 1. This is vegetarian sausage, so it's like a TVP or other plant-based proteins as a meat substitute. The cheese oat biscuits, tea bag, the lemon drink. This is just nuts, not roasted or salted. These are the cola bottle gummy candies with a sugar coating. fact, I'm going to put a light. You can kind of better see the color of it sitting on top of the light. There we go. I think that shows it better. Just thought that might be interesting to see how it looks. It looks like the color of the cola flavored drink mix once it's mixed up, instead of something closer to the color of the tea. Madeline is here. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you're enjoying this. I do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Last week, when I first opened this, I got out the chicken jalfrezi. It was very, very good. And as much as I like the U.S. Halal jalfrezi with lamb, I think that chicken jalfrezi was several steps above that as far as flavor. You know, the additional seasonings that were in there, you know, what it looked like. Yeah, that chicken jalfrezi, I could have knocked back another pouch of that if I had it. But this would be a breakfast item, since this is something that a lot of people over on the other side of the pond would eat for breakfast. This is something that is not so common here in the States. So I'm having it for dinner. And I do like this. You know, for a vegetarian item, this is actually not bad. This is a lemon flavored drink mix, no food coloring. You have the sugar and other sweeteners, the flavorings, any nutritional supplements that they put in here. A lot of the European drink mixes have less of the colorings than American ration drink mixes, or they have none at all. And some of the colorings that are used here really should be getting rid of. I just bit into another piece of the oat biscuit that I had, the cheese oat biscuit that I put in here earlier. I also like a good clam chowder. Of course, better than clam chowder is linguine and clam sauce. That was my late dad's favorite meal. And my parents used to have that on their wedding anniversary every year, maybe a couple other times a year. It would have it, so it was not a regular thing. But back in 2008 was their last anniversary because the next day after we celebrated their 47th anniversary, the cancer really started to take a hold. And it wasn't all that much longer that my dad died. Yeah, he died on Veterans Day, November 2008. So we don't eat that dish as often as we used to, but we will still have it once in a while. My oldest sister is the one who will make it now. Yeah, she follows my mom's recipe. But still, I do enjoy a good clam chowder. Yeah, when you lose a parent to something like cancer, that can almost be the hardest as opposed to any other way. But we have our ways of keeping his memory alive. With things that we have that used to be his, or going out to Lake Icaria every summer. There's a bench out there that has his name on it. They're called memorial benches, and people can pay the county parks department where this lake and campground is located. They pay a fee to have one of these memorial benches dedicated to a loved one. And so more of them got added this year. So there'll probably be even more of them. So they literally they're rimming the lake with these benches. So it also makes it easier for people who just want to sit close to the lake. Even if they're not fishing. I sat on one of the benches. I would plant my rod holder in the ground, and I'll just wait for a fish to take my bait. But even if I don't catch anything, which I didn't this time around, it's still fun to be out there. That lake was my late dad's favorite place to camp and enjoy nature even before the lake was even created. The campground was there long before the lake was. He grew up in that area, so he knew that place well. There's food, forest, permaculture, and the house section dropping in. Same ration, different set of items. Vegetarian sausage with potatoes in a tomato sauce. There's some mushrooms and onions in here. Cheese oat biscuits, which are a little bit darker than what they call the biscuits brown, which are just an oat biscuit. This one has a cheddar cheese flavor in it. Then I got a cup of tea, lemon drink. This is just cashews, peanuts, and almonds, neither roasted or salted. And this is a cola bottle gummy candy here. Packed in 2023, Halal certified. So the chicken in the chicken jalfrezi was slaughtered and prepared according to Islamic dietary rules, which means the bird was slaughtered in a specific manner. It would be similar to kosher. You're invoking God's name while you do it. And the animal should never see the blade. And it has to be super sharp, and one cut should do the deed. And that's very similar to how it's done for Jews according to Jewish dietary guidelines. In fact, the Hedgehog's Homestead, they do it in the same manner that a Jew would do it. In one swipe of the blade. They are not Jews, but they choose to use this process when they slaughter their chickens and turkeys that they raise. And then they just process it, the animal the rest of the way, butchering it and packing it for freezer storage until they either choose to cook it or can it. Bosniakov is here. Thanks for dropping in. And speaking of Bosnian, I'm going to assume that you are Bosnian, or at least Bosnian descent. We had a community dinner at my mosque yesterday. We served after the sunset prayer, and a Bosnian crew did the cooking. And they made a couple different flavors of the pizza, and then another sandwich with meat inside it, and they had a bean soup, and then salad, and then cake and cupcakes. So that was very, very good. All made from scratch, right there in our mosque kitchen. And then served up very good. RB, thanks for dropping in. Again, this is a military ration. This is what the British soldier in the field would be issued, or if Allied soldiers such as, I'll just use an American or Canadian soldier as an example, if they are stationed on a base inside of the UK, and they are doing a joint exercise, and they are given rations. The foreign soldier may be given one of these British rations as opposed to a ration from their own country, simply because it's just easier to do that because that's what the base has on hand. And it looks like something that you could find in a grocery store shelf. I have been watching videos from UK channels, and they would have a can of what they call all-day breakfast. And it is this type of thing. Sometimes they might have beans in it, sometimes not. This version happens to have the vegetarian sausage, so it is a plant-based meat substitute. There's mushrooms, potatoes, and onions in a tomato sauce with tiny bits of tomato in it. You know, it's not quite the gourmet food that you might find in French rations, but you can find some very delicious things in these. You will find rations that have worse flavor. And of course some, like I said, the French you might find much better. Of course everybody's taste is different. I might like a certain French entree where someone else who may get the exact same one may not like it as much. Well, I can see why the Royal Marines might bring their own, because American rations, they need to up their flavor game. If they did something closer to even this, yeah, it might be more enjoyable. Granted, there are some American rations that I do enjoy, especially the meal cold weather with the Mountain House freeze dried food in them. But in a British ration, you'll usually get tea. Now this is an unbranded, generic packaged tea, not like the Thai food tea and I don't remember the brand of the English breakfast tea that used to be in there. I would have to dig one of those out. But for black tea, this is not bad. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if I would see that 3-in-1 tea and 3-in-1 coffee in this. I have had those before in the single meal rations. But I opened up one of the coffees and had that last time. So tonight I wanted to try the tea. Got the but I wouldn't mind. I normally, in fact, speaking of 3-in-1 tea, when I was younger, I used to drink coffee creamer in my hot tea. And then as I got older, I stopped doing that. Once in a great while, I might do it. Just not as much as I did when I was a lot younger. I think because I was just not as much into drinking tea as I do now. During the colder months, I do drink hot tea as opposed to anything cold. I've only made a few cups of hot tea so far. It hasn't really been all that cold. But most of the time, I just put a little sugar in the tea. Like I did tonight, I put one sugar packet in there. But not any of the creamers. And again, once in a great while, I might do that just for something a little different. Yeah, and as I said earlier, I really do like the Thai food tea. It would be nice if that was brought back. But the extra coffee and the extra tea bag from this, I will save for another time. So this is the hot chocolate drink mix. This is just the one that's not orange or mint flavored. So I will get into that next time. You know, I have other cocoa mixes I can go to. But I haven't had one of these UK cocos for a while, so I want to get into that next week. Oh, the chicken with dal. I really enjoyed that one. I had that made in both the single meal and the 24-hour version. When the 24-hour used to be in the box and the single meal was in a clear plastic bag that somewhat resembles an American clear ration bag minus the peelable seal. But it's been a few years since I've had that particular entree. So it would be interesting to know if the recipe has been updated or if it's still the same as it was when I got those back in, I think, 2018 was when I got those. When Foreign MRE used to sell those rations, that's where I originally got those from. Oh, that one does sound like it would be good. I get the caramel flavored coffee and the caramel flavored coffee creamer here, but I've never had a caramel flavored hot chocolate mix. So it would be interesting to get a hold of one of those. Because that does sound really good. And these are not roasted or salted. Cashews, almonds, and peanuts. But they still taste pretty fresh. So I only put out half of that bag. I'll have the rest of those next time. Now that pudding sounds like it would be really good also. Here I have had, although I've not seen it lately, but the halal chocolate pudding, and I've had a halal butterscotch pudding from Halal US MREs. The puddings used to have a bit of a gritty texture to it, but that has since been improved, at least in the chocolate version. I don't know if the butterscotch one is still being produced for Halal MREs. It'd be interesting to see what that would be like if it is still in production. I'm going to put this piece of the cheese oat biscuit in the sauce. And they don't, not a whole lot of additional flavor, maybe a little crunch, but you do get that cheese flavor. The bits of tomato are very, very small in there. But it's nice to have actual bits of tomato in this. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of experience with certified kosher rations. I had a case of the My Own Meals ones that CT had sent to me several years ago, but the menus in that one repeated. And the accessory pack, there was no difference at all in those except for maybe the flavors of the candies that were put into those bags. The snacks were all the same. From all 12 bags. But those did have coffee and cocoa mix in them. And that's what I did like about those, is they actually had coffee, a hot drink option, whereas the Halal MREs do not. You only get a cold drink powder. So I have yet to find out what the deal is with that. You know, coffee is not one of those items that a Muslim is not allowed to drink. In fact, there are majority Muslim countries where they actually grow coffee. In fact, the Arabica coffee varieties originated from that area. Yeah, those probably can be a bit sweet for some palates. So I don't know if that was just to keep the caloric content high enough to meet the requirements, or what. I don't know the deal on that. But I still would like to know why American halal MREs do not have coffee or even a tea bag in them. The kosher rations are now done by a company called La Beirut, and I think there's been another one since. But again, you open up the accessory pack for one of those, and you will see coffee and a hot cocoa mix in there. And if you're eating one of these on a chilly day, but not so cold that you need a freeze-dried entree, yeah, you might want that warm drink. Just tossing some of the biscuit crumbs into the sauce just for the heck of it. I've seen this a couple of times, but I look at my tablet screen and it says chat disconnected and then reconnected. So I guess running a stream live on two devices is probably cutting into my bandwidth, and there is a bit of a delay. In between my phone and my tablet, of probably about 5 seconds. So I hope it's not too bad. Gonna have another handful of the nuts. Again, I'll have the rest of these nuts next week. And I have the rest of the biscuits brown. I have the peanut butter packet that I did not open up, so I will get into that next week as well and put that on those biscuits. I don't know if when you buy this or something similar in a store that's commercially produced, would there be more sausages in the can? Would there be more potatoes in the can? And if it's a recipe with beans in it, is there a good proportion of beans in it? You know? So that you don't seem like you're getting all sauce and not much of anything else. It would be interesting to actually have one of those cans over here. I've never seen anything like that in stores here. I've never looked to see if that is something that can be ordered on Amazon. But the idea of this, this all-day breakfast, I mean, it's not too much unlike over here where someone might have bacon and eggs for supper. In fact, I got breakfast sausages in my freezer. They're the Halal sausage links, which are kind of shaped like this one was. And then I have the little patties, which are just a tiny bit bigger than one of these. But obviously thicker, but I will eat those for dinner. And just one of those different custom things, I guess that something like this is not so common here. I don't know how common it is up in Canada. But there is a Canadian IMP. The entree is baked beans, and that's considered a breakfast menu up there. Because back in the day, beans were a much more common breakfast item than is now, especially for those traveling great distances. Beans were something that was a lot easier to get a hold of for a protein source. Now, they may not have always had meat, but the beans did the job. Yeah, that's the thing. All day breakfast. Although the pouch that this came out of did not say all day breakfast. But I've seen that all day breakfast before. And as I've said in videos that I've watched, a guy doing an overnight camp somewhere, maybe 2 day. It would have a can of this all-day breakfast with the sausage and potatoes. And some might have beans in it, some not. Probably depends on the company that made it, what recipe they chose to use. They would just open up the can and put it in the pan that they would have on the fire and heat it up, and that would be breakfast, or it could be dinner, depending on what time of day they chose to have it. Well, there's not much you can do about that. Just have to deal with it. And this mug was sent to me by Delicious, all the way from Poland. He recently sent one to Blind Fox in South Africa. That's where Blind Fox is at, along with a coffee and a chocolate bar. So if you check out the Blind Fox channel, you'll see that review of that chocolate bar and that coffee mixed in the Delicious mug. So several reviewers have gotten these Delicious mugs. Whereas on the other side of the mug, it has the URL for his website, which is in Polish. But if you go into that site, you could get it translated. He also has another channel that is in Polish. I'm subscribed to that, but I don't see as many videos pop up on that. But they're in Polish, even though I don't know very much. I still enjoy watching those whenever he does put up something there. Yep. So this, for the most part, will be my weekly review mug. I also have one for Mike Crusher, so that one may come out once in a while. And I will still bring out the Foreign MRE mug on occasion. So they will all get used. By the way, this is my second drinking jar. The first one I got from my mom years ago. And I was doing hot drinks in it, which ended up to be a mistake because I did cocoa in it and it shattered, or not shattered, but it broke. I was able to salvage probably 3/4 of the cocoa. So I ended up buying this ball drinking jar on eBay. Not the same one that my mom's was. I don't remember what the brand of that one was, but I saw this ball one. And so I went for it. So only cold drinks will go in this. These are not heat tolerant. They're not made to the same standards as an actual canning jar, but it still looks pretty darn cool. So I just have not had the heart to tell my mom that I busted the drinking jar that she gave me, so I won't. No one in my family watches these videos. I don't think they even know I put up anything on YouTube other than maybe videos of the cat. But then again, they're not much into that kind of stuff anyway. Yeah, it's pretty quiet in here. Unlike last week, but the upside to all that craziness was my view count got so jacked up. I have not seen anything like that for a long time. I've never seen that on a live stream, a view count like that. Even on replays, I'm still getting... I might get occasional additional views on it, but that was just plain weird. But I'll take that kind of weird. bit of the settling going on in the bottom there, so I gave my drink another stir. Now get into these cola bottle candies. The shapes on some of these is not quite right. Look at that one. One of these, that one looks more like a bottle shape. This one looks kind of funky. It tastes just like the cola flavored drink mix that you would get from one of these rations. They're soft, they're chewy. They're a little bit softer than the jelly bars that you'll get in a French ration. They're more like some of the sugared gummy candies that you would get here in the US. But again, it tastes just like the cola drink mix. They're a bit off the darker end. So you can see the color without the sugar. Curtis is here. Thanks for dropping in. You're looking at what is left of meal 2 from this certified halal 2023 pack, British ORP. Some of the writing on this bag is kind of faded, or it didn't print all that well, but this is marked halal. So I ate what's called the all-day breakfast. It's vegetarian sausages with potatoes and a tomato sauce that also had onions and mushrooms in it. Last week I ate the chicken jalfrezi, which is absolutely awesome. I had the cheese oat biscuits here. Last week I ate part of the biscuits brown. I have the rest of those, so I'll pull those out next week. I ate half of the Just Nuts, which was, it's unsalted, unroasted cashews, peanuts, and almonds. Last week I drank one of the coffees. I got one of the teas in my delicious mug. This is the lemon drink. I had what may have been the pineapple, although it tasted like something blended with pineapple. I had the cinnamon cake last week, and these are the cola bottle gummy candies. And they taste just like the cola drink mix that you would get in the British rations. When you mix that up, even as strong as I tend to mix these, it is nowhere near as dark as the actual soda. Some like it, some don't. I like it if I mix it with carbonated water. And when I did that experiment, I actually added a tiny bit of sugar, not much. But I actually like the taste of these candies better than that drink mix. I don't know if the flavor is more concentrated in these, or if the other ingredients in these bring out that flavor, but these actually taste better than the drink mix. Yeah, it was a little bit cooler today, but I still have my windows cracked. And I have my little USB fan. It's not aimed at me, but since my ceiling fan no longer works, I'm using it to just move air around here. My ceiling fan stopped working after the idiot above me flooded my apartment. Near the end of March, or just in early April, just as Ramadan was getting close to ending, and I had taken off to the mosque on March 31st. And it was after that time that it happened, because I had spent the entire night in the mosque and didn't come home till Sunday morning, or no, Monday morning. I went Sunday, about midday Sunday, and then I didn't come home till probably about 9 something Monday morning. And the management company rep was out there saying, I've been looking for you, and I thought I'd done something bad. And he said, no, you got a mess upstairs. And so it had gone down into the apartment below me. And so that's probably how it got reported. And so I came up, and I'll tell you, if it would have been any worse, I literally would have picked my jaw up off the floor. It was that bad. And it turns out the idiot above me had the kitchen sink plugged up so no water could drain down. Then the faucet was turned on full blast and just allowed to run and run for hours and hours. And it soaked through that floor, down through my ceiling, through my floor, into the apartment below me. And so part of the flooring in the living room of the apartment below me had to be replaced, because it's that fake wood tile. I still have the original carpet that was in here when I first moved in. I never did get kicked out to have this particular apartment remodeled, because when they did that, they never kicked anybody out who was still living here. They just remodeled as an apartment emptied out. And so those of us who are still living here when all that was done, only minor repairs were made, or instead of the whole thing being gutted to the studs. And so that's probably what, because I had the carpet, that was a lot easier to dry out than that material that was used on the floor in the remodeled units and what was also used in the laundry room, when that stuff soaks up much water, it will never flatten out. It is basically useless, and a whole bunch of that had to be taken out to the dump. Thanks for thanks for coming in, John. Looks like Cliff is also dipping out. So thanks to him for coming in. So it's good to see new faces. And it's good to see all those who've been coming in here before. You know, I kind of fell into this almost by accident because I started watching a few ration reviewers, not as many as there are now, but just on a lark, I entered a giveaway on the channel Sticky Fingers 749. That's Fingaz, Sticky Fingers 749. He gave away a US MRE, and I won it. And so I decided that I'm going to do what all these other people are doing. I'm going to review it on camera. And so when I did that, I got out my old Tupperware tray from 1983, which I still have. I use it. I should have used it when I had that LRP, because that had so much food. This tray would not have held it all. At least I would have needed probably this whole section and this, maybe part of this one, to hold all that. Because I did not realize how much food that LRP was going to produce, because that was a freeze-dried entree. That was Mountain House's first foray into that, when they were still known exclusively as Oregon Freeze Dry. And you still may see that on some of their packaging, but they became better known as Mountain House. But you make up one of those, you're going to have a lot of food. And I should have got that Tupperware tray out for that. But now that I have an experience with an LRP, if I get another one of those, I'll pull out that Tupperware tray, which just has one large square, a utensil area, and then two other squares on this side for either cups or smaller items such as this. And that's what I originally started using, because that's the only tray that I had. And then I got this one, and I use it for rations of smaller entrees and more items. And I switch off between the two occasionally. Oh, okay. I thought you said later, guys, so I thought you were leaving. Anyway, I gotta leave my chair for a bit. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was setting up for my stream, and I was actually watching another video that I paused because I had a phone call earlier. And then I just resumed playing that video. And I thought, oh crap, I gotta set up for my stream. And I never took my supper pills. So I went into the bathroom and I took care of that. And so I came back, and Pumpkin almost jumped on my chair. I wanted to make sure that she didn't start licking my tray. Oh, that's a funny one. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if anyone who sees any ads on my streams will get a Geico one. I have no way of knowing if ads pop up, because when I bring up, all the time, I did have an ad pop up when I was bringing it up on my tablet, so I had to kill the volume real quick because I didn't want that feedback. I forgot to turn the volume down before doing that. So then I killed that ad because I wouldn't want that feedback to come back through my phone mic and it sound like absolute garbage. Some people get opening ads on streams, some don't. Some channels like Gil of Gray Man Prepping and Camp Patton Family Compound, he starts the stream going 5 minutes ahead of time and then puts up a countdown timer 4 or 5 minutes. And that basically takes care of any ads that pop up. And so when he actually comes on the screen, you get to hear everything he says from the beginning. If you catch one of those shorter ads in time that are not too long to begin with, or you can skip it. I don't do that because StreamYard on mobile devices just does not work. I tried coming in as a guest through it on one of his streams and it just completely killed my connection. I just couldn't hold it. So I said, nope, I'm never doing that again. I do not have a web camera that is newer enough that would work with my laptop. So that's why I don't do that. And this laptop only has 3 available USB ports. And I have I have the USB port that goes to my laptop cooler pad. It's a little platform that you put a laptop on, and it actually has a fan in it that draws the heat away from the bottom of the laptop. So it keeps running all the time because I have the laptop in kind of like a semi-sleep mode until I choose to open it to do something with it. And then I have my Nitor desk lamp that I got from Olight. I have that plugged into another USB port, and then I have another charging cable that has one of the magnetic charger ends on it for charging flashlights such as this one, or one of my O bulbs. So I have that plugged into the other, but I could easily pop that out since I don't use that one all the time, but I still like to have it available if I need to charge something like that. Yeah, that one would be easy to pop out, but again, I do not have a web camera that is new enough that would be compatible with it. The ones that I do have are much older and would not be compatible with it, so I just haven't bothered to get one. And plus, with the laptop being so much harder for me to use than a desktop because I cannot separate the keyboard from the screen, I want to get another desktop computer where I can separate the two, but they are just too expensive to get a decent quality one. And the latest one that I had was a factory refurb, and it did have some issues, and then it finally crapped out. So then I was gifted this laptop, but I've only done some things on it because it is so hard for me to use. But before I got the newer smartphones that I do have that can handle larger video files for editing, I would have to dump all that video data onto the laptop, and then I would run it through my OpenShot video editor. And that's what I would use to edit those videos up. Would end up to be longer than maybe 5 minutes. Whereas with the phone that I'm streaming on now, I have not had to do that because of the higher memory capacity and the processing capability of it. I've not had to dump all that data off onto the laptop to run through my OpenShot, but I still have some video clips that I want to put together into a single video, but because it is for a couple of products that I got free from a company one that I won, and then the other that they had sent me in exchange for doing some short video clips demonstration. And so I did that, and a couple of times I said, I would like to do this as put all this stuff together into one YouTube video, but I want to get your approval to see if I can call it a sponsored video. But I have yet to find out for sure if they would be okay if I put all those segments together into one video. I still just may do it. And I will say that, the one item I won in a giveaway, and the other I was given for free so that I could shoot these short demonstration clips that were posted on Facebook. So I sent everything, all the clips that I had done, and they could choose whether to put them out all at once. They're separate videos, or how they wanted to piece them together. That was totally their choice. I just gave them the clips, said, you run them through your system, because I don't know how you would assemble them, what you would do with them, as what other text or things you would add, because I just don't have that capability. And so they did, and they did give me credit for doing that. So a lot of these segments are shorter. Because when I was actually shooting the individual video segments, I would do part of it, and then I would have to wait a few minutes, and then because I was outside, I would have to pause the recording, and tell some people, I'm doing a video shoot down here. So I would wait for them to leave, or I would hear voices, and then I would just wait for them to leave and then resume it. Or I would just I would pause it and say, I'm going to wait until this process is taking a little while to run through, and then I'll resume it. Something like that. And then I would shoot shorter clips just saying, like, just an advice segment, as, do not do this with it under certain conditions, which I specified. And then the company that I got these items from, they would splice all these together in a way that would best fit with what they were wanting to do. And they had sent products to other people to do these demonstration videos on. And so probably not all the same product, or maybe they wanted to see which ones they liked the best, and they did use some of the segments that I had sent them. Well, thanks for dropping in. I'm probably going to go ahead and close this one out myself, since people are starting to head out. it is Monday morning there on the other side of the pond. So I hope you have a good week. Again, next week I will be digging into the bean and pasta salad, and I will be heating it up because that's just how I choose to do it. And since these British rations do not come with ration heaters, the soldier in the field will be heating up their other entrees in a canteen cup or a small pot that's just big enough to put the bag and some water in. They'll probably be heating that one up as well. So that's what I will be doing next week for the third meal from this 24-hour Halal ration. So I do hope you hang out with me next week. I will finish these off as I clean up. And of course, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, I will be starting something else. I got those 2 moors. I may be opening up one of those and adding those items to some other stuff from my ration box to make a meal. So that may be the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving is always the 4th Thursday of November here in the U.S. It's in October in Canada. So just wanted to let you know I may be doing a bit of that. And then who knows what I will do the Sunday after that. But in the meantime, at the end of November, I will be ordering some more rations. I'll just have to figure out what I can get that will not take half a year to get here. And, some things that I won't have to worry about being messed with. But I do have other entrees and a few side items that I can put together. I want to get some more of those side type items like biscuits, things like that. I don't have too many of those. I'm going to look into getting some things like that as well, so that I can put some other meals together. So again, I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Come back next Sunday, 7 p.m. U.S. Central, for the rest of this Halal ORP. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.